This essay compares differences between Hong Kong gang film Infernal Affairs 2002, directed by Wai-Keung and makes the affair, and the remake film The Departed 2006, directed by Hollywood director Martin Scorsese.
Hey, put the fucking gun down!
The essay will start with a brief description of different cultural background of these films. Infernal Affairs' background is associated with the gang culture from 1991 to 1997 in Hong Kong. During that time, Hong Kong was facing the transition of sovereignty from Britain to China. Reflecting the situation of Hong Kong, the film features two main characters, Lau and Chen, who are spies in gang and police with the identity crisis split between good and evil. The story can be extended to people's ethnic identity during the critical period in Hong Kong. The Departed is remade in the city of Boston, which is a crime city with American cultural and multiracial dynamics, influence and history. Although The Departed is thought that seamless cross-cultural migration of the film text, one of the most culturally embedded and socially coded expressive form. Its setting is transferred from Hong Kong to Boston. American film version is really a Hollywood style with only more violent and sexual scenes, but a less convincing and profound plot of identity. In terms of the adapting strategy, basically, these two films have the same storyline that the two main characters spy against each other. Nevertheless, their signification is rather different. At first, religion is the main factor of cross-cultural alternation because it can affect people's thinking and communication.
We commend the soul of Alphonsus, your servant. In the sight of this world, he is now dead. Forgive whatever sins he committed through human weakness.
Amen.
The names of films. The Departed means the man who betrayed to his beliefs. As for Inferno of Infernal Affairs, it is related to the image of evil and the hell. In The Departed, director integrated Catholic element into this film with several characters' personality and behavior. At the opening scene, Frank Costello mentions that the function of church is gone, and people make their own way.
Years ago we had the church. That was only a way of saying we had each other.
But now, I don't know, it's a funny thing. It put hate in your heart.
Also, he challenges the roles of Catholic and profane the clergy, which represent to the significance of the film that someone depart the religion and break their regular and moral life to be a gang.
I am as God made me. Was that your rationale? May I remind you, in this archdiocese, God don't run the bingo.
He believes that God and religions make nothing better. Such a belief influences Colin Sullivan when he was a child. In contrast, Billy Costigan stands on the bright side of justice, although he engaged in the gang. Moreover, within Infernal Affairs sets Buddhism to the main point of the film, what seems that cycle and punishment in the hell. The opening features Nirvana Sutra Chapter 19, which is about Inferno, and it represents two main characters in the film. They do not belong to themselves and seem to live in hell. At the end, the quote Nirvana Sutra means that people living in Inferno will never die, but they will live in chaos and carnage. The opening and ending are consistent with the same sutras. The Departed focus on justice and sins. However, Infernal Affairs emphasize on the connection between good people with bad people. That is, the first time beyond conflicting between police with gang in Hong Kong gang films. Second, in The Departed, individualism, which is different to Chinese Confucianism, is the typical thought in America. People can control their own life and succeed all because of America. Colin and Billy are the salient examples of that. The former was impacted by Frank Costello, who gave him money and opportunity to change his belief. At the end, however, he killed all the people who had ever threatened him, and the later wanted to be a policeman and stayed away from poverty and villainous family, so he pretended to be a gang for reaching the goal.
Hey, no one gives it to you. Have to take it. Non-serviam.
And Frank Costello said no one gives it to you, which is the line that appears repeatedly in this film. He uses everyone he encountered as a product and turns these people to FBI when they have no use. It seems that Martin Scorsese disagrees with individualism. Although individualism has a huge impact on America, it weakens morality and drives people away from goodness. Third, The Departed presents a lot of violence and sex scenes, like most of Hollywood films, to build up the human weakness and sins. Even through the dialogue and music, audience can notice the stimulant of violence directly. In particular, Costello usually brings the bloody event in the film with his evil smile. Yet, Infernal Affairs is gentler with psychological war that it does not have excessive violence, not even a sex scene in the film. This part will discuss different approaches in terms of developing characters and relationships in two films. In Infernal Affairs, the first scene of the film already shows the relationship of Lau and Hon Sam, who sends a number of young gangsters to the police academy as moles. Since teenage years, they studied in the same police academy but different departments. Many years later, when they grew up, they recognize each other in a stereo store. With peace atmosphere, it is hard to distinguish who is the criminal and who is the policeman. However, in The Departed, it begins at introducing Frank Costello, how he met child Colin and turned him to be one of his crew members. When Colin was studying in police academy, meanwhile, Billy were in the same environment, but they had totally different police lives. Before Frank Costello died, they had never seen each other. In the film, Colin is a cold-blooded killer with no mercy, but Billy is always struggling as he pretending to be a gangster and hurting people. As it can be seen, these two characters have different personalities as well as the dark side and bright side. Female characters are not highlighted in these two films. In Infernal Affairs has three main female characters. However, there is only one woman, who is a psychologist, between two men in The Departed that make the relationship of the film becoming more complicated. According to the films, their temporal orders are different. The Departed begins with monologue by Frank Costello to state the main points of the film, which penetrates the whole story.
I don't want to be a product of my environment. I want my environment to be a product of me.
At the beginning, Infernal Affairs starts from the Hon Sam telling new gangsters why he sent them to be policemen. Without too many dialogues, the storyline is developed with a compact pace. In 11 minutes, audiences already knew a relationship between characters and what the background is. However, in The Departed, 1/3 of film, about 40 minutes, is describing the background and how Billy participated in the gang, although these two films are basically the same story. And The Departed gives more detail about two main characters and Frank Costello in order to elicit the conflict.
Swear on your mother's grave, you're still like that.
These two films have totally different color tone. Infernal Affairs used low color saturation and cold tone to illustrate their life as Inferno, and The Departed used purple color with high contrast. For The Departed, Martin Scorsese uses high-volume music to enhance the film, which is typically his style, yet Infernal Affairs uses natural sound of low-volume background music.
Get your fucking hands off!
Hey. Do you know me?
The scene when Chen meets Wong, who is the Chen's superior and the only man who knows Chen's real identity. Hon Sam wants to catch the spy of his triad, so he sends people to this building. However, they did not find the spy before Wong, and then throw him down from the top of the building. These two films let Chen and Billy directly see him died. Infernal Affairs focuses on the emotion and relationship between Chen and Wong, so it uses music and slow motion to present the sense of loss and sadness. Nevertheless, The Departed is more real, and it quickly leads to shootout with high-pitched background music to raise tension. And another scene is when Sam and Frank Costello did the last job, and through a fierce battle, he was shot by Lau and Colin. Actually, phone is the important gadget in the story, and the phone ring is a special signal and connection between these two characters in the scene. In Infernal Affairs, Lau finds Hon Sam and then kills him without saying a word. Only tense music is used to be the replacement of silence. Throughout the film, Lau keeps flashing back to the opening that Hon Sam have said he will have a tragic ending no matter how successful he is. Audience can immediately know Lau will kill him later. This scene uses wide shot and extremely wide shot to present how small people are in the dark inferno. And then it uses dolly into Hon Sam and Lau, and high-angle camera to look at Hon Sam, what make people to agree with Lau. But in The Departed, Frank Costello and Colin have a communication before Colin shoots Frank Costello, who wears Irish t-shirt which represents his Irish identity.
Frank.
Colin stands up at the high angle, but Frank Costello sits down at a low point, which symbolizes weakness and hopelessness. As can be seen, Frank Costello will have a tragic ending. Eventually, the Hollywood and Asian films vary in terms of how to tell the same story by different directors with different perspectives. Audio effect is mentioned the last point of the essay, including cinematography, mise-en-scene, editing, sound. And the essay analyzed two specific scenes. The one is an important high-level police officer killed by a gangster, and the main role, Hong Kong, Chen, America, Billy are exposed their identity as undercover gangster and police officer. Another scene is the climax of the story that the gang leader, who is another main character in the story, is killed by his own spy, Hong Kong, Lau, America, Colin. As can be seen, these two films have the same story but different storytellers that cross culture and characters' views are the interesting thing to adapt. Infernal Affairs is a unique gang film in Hong Kong at that time. And it is a battle of wits between police and gang which is fever from this film. In The Departed, Martin Scorsese follows the Hollywood entertainment method and Western civilization and merges his directing style. And both these films are award-winning in Western and Eastern countries.
Fine.